Hi everyone, it's Teresa McCallum, author of Finding Balance and Forgiveness Through Chakras and Art, and the new author of Finding Balance and Forgiveness Chakra Oracle Cards. I'm not sure if any of you have seen me in my sort of maiden videos. I've made a couple just to sort of get going and to start sharing my Oracle cards, which I am just totally in love with. And I'm trying to get to a regular day of doing videos. I have been working on it all summer trying to figure out what would be the best day, and I think starting September I'm going to be doing them Monday mornings. I think the time will be 8 o'clock in the morning, and then on occasional Mondays that I start really early at my other job, I might have them at 6 in the morning. Anyhow, just so you're aware, that's what's coming up. I have been super busy this past year and a half. I've been authoring a book and authoring the Chakra Oracle cards, as well as working and keeping up my art practice. And I realized, I went on vacation. I just finished 3 weeks of vacation, actually staycation. I just stayed here in Calgary, which has been phenomenal weather and has been just delightful. I've been doing all sorts of nice things around Calgary and area. But I realized how busy I've been. Here I am writing about finding balance, and I think that my life for the past year or two, while I've been doing the book writing and keeping up all the other commitments I have, has been a little bit unbalanced. So this 3 weeks, I was going to go on vacation, but instead of vacating, I stayed here in Calgary, and I focused on the things that I really love to do and that get me back in balance. And that's kind of the focus of my book, is figuring out the areas that you need to work on. And I hate that word, actually, work, because it shouldn't be work. It should be doing things that are good for you and that feel good and then make you feel good and that you want to do. When we say work on it, all of a sudden it becomes like a chore or a task or something that we have to do. So this staycation, I changed my mindset a little bit, and I didn't take any projects that I had to do. All I did was projects I wanted to do. And I really was quite busy, but it was just such a fun busy. Some of you who follow me on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram probably saw my gigantic art project that I was working on, and it's something I've been meaning to do for about 3 years. My husband bought me this gigantic canvas, 5 foot by 7 feet, and I had always wanted to do it, but the weather hadn't been good enough in Calgary, and also I didn't have a big stretch of time that I could commit to it. So this summer I decided I would do it, and it is really one of the things that kind of really put me back in balance. Instead of doing art because somebody had ordered it, or I had an art show coming up, or I was behind on getting a task done, I just did it because I wanted to, and it was so much fun. It also was quite comical because it was so huge. I had to come up with new ways of doing things. I was darting out to Canadian Tire constantly to buy some sort of extension thing because I couldn't reach into the middle of the canvas. And then when we were hanging it, the whole family was involved, and if it had been videotaped, it really would have been a great comedy act, because we weren't very good at it. But it's hung, but it was quite comical. It was a whole day of adventure, blood, sweat, tears, but mostly laughter. Anyhow, that's what I've been up to, and I guess I just want to remind people, if you hear some weird breathing in the background, it's just my dog sitting here. I think we just came back from a walk, and I think she thinks that I'm going to play with her out here, and she's wondering who I'm talking to. That was the other thing that I did this summer, is I committed to walking on average about 8 to 10 kilometers per day with my dog Luna, and we walk regularly, and I walk pretty fast to keep myself energized and also to get a little bit of physical activity. But this summer I just said, that's it, I'm just going to walk every single day. And what a difference it made to my day to make sure I did it every day. And it wasn't a job. It was something I looked forward to, instead of saying, oh, I've got to walk the dog. I just loved it. And we spent a lot of time in the woods, sort of recharging, grounding, and just getting back to nature. And anyhow, it was just a really good summer. So I really recommend people take some time, even if it's a day, even if it's only a day you've got, figure out the things that you love to do and do them, and things that are really good for you. Eat really well, drink lots of fresh water, try and do something creative every single day, and get outside. Those are the big ones. Just really focus on looking after yourself. Anyhow, I am going to do a quick little card reading. There's many ways to do my card readings. You can do a 3-card spread. There's a couple of different ones I offer in my booklet here. It tells you how to do everything. A 3-card spread, either mind, body, spirit, or past, present, future, or combination, or kind of a path, a guided path. But my favorite thing to do, and I do it every day, and I've sort of been doing that my whole life, or at least 30 years of it, with various oracle cards, is just picking a card, sort of getting in, really focusing on what I'm sort of wanting to be working on for the week or for the day, or what areas might be somewhat troubling for me, and pull a card, and then glean whatever sort of information I can get from the card and use it as a motivator for the day, the week, the month, whatever. My chakra oracle cards are quite different than any other card. They're based on the chakras, which are lovely. They're very colorful, and there are 7 areas. The 7 chakras are the ones that I'm focusing on. These are areas that we hope are all in balance throughout our body, and my booklet describes all about the chakras, but I'm not going to do that for you right now, and so does my book. My book tells you all about the chakras. But what I'm going to do is every week pull a card for me and for everybody else out there, just so that we have something to focus on that helps us a little bit, learn a little bit about the chakras, but also gives us something to work on or to focus on or to think about as we go through our week. I chose Monday. I was going to choose Friday for my day, but that's kind of the end of the week and start of the weekend, which is always a great time to do something like that too. But often most of us are kind of facing the week and the things we have to do, and we're getting over our weekend, which was usually pretty fun, and maybe we need to shape up a little bit. But regardless, I think Monday seems like a good day because it's the start of the week. So I think it'll be called Finding Balance on Mondays or something like that, but I'll let you know. Anyhow, I'm going to pull a card for us, and I'll do an intuitive reading, just sort of off the top of my head, and then I'm going to read you from my booklet too. Like I said, I'm going to shuffle them here for a minute while I chat to you, and I'm starting to drop them already. I've been really focusing on balancing my life. That's my work, my fun, my outside of work, all those kinds of things. The card picked me. I didn't pick the card. It fell out of the deck, so it's right here, but I'll show it to you in a second. And I think that I've really come to appreciate how important it is to sort of do a check-in with yourself at least every couple of months or so, and just see where you're at, and if you're kind of grumpy about things, or you're really tired, or you've been sick a lot, or you're just finding that life is sometimes a bit of a drag or some drudgery. It's time to really look at it and spruce it up and figure out what it is that you love to do. And I think if you think about your childhood and the things that you loved to do when you were a kid, you're going to just naturally know what it is you need to add to your life. My little booklet here, Finding Balance and Forgiveness, guidebook for the chakra cards, when I read it, and I wrote this all in a 4-day weekend, when I read it, I look and I go, it's kind of childlike. It really does take me back to the things I loved to do when I was a kid. And this is my book and my booklet with the chakra oracle cards are to do with the chakras and how to work with the chakras and how to balance your life. But I do it from a little bit of a different angle, and I use art and creativity. And I think everybody should be using art and creativity, and it's really big in my life. And when I started back to using art, which I let it go for a number of years, but when I started seriously getting back into art about, I think it was about 10 years ago, I noticed my life improved substantially. I naturally was meditating, really, because all of a sudden 2 or 3 or 4, even 5 hours would go by, and I really didn't know where they went. I was just busy. Actually not busy, just sort of intuitively doing what I wanted to do, and I felt really good. I sometimes don't find I have enough time to do my art, but I think even if you just take a little bit of time every day to do something creative, even if it's 15 minutes, half an hour, you'll find you enjoy your life a little bit more. Okay, so this little one here, I hope you can see it. I'm under the shade in beautiful sunny Calgary here today. No smoke, thank goodness, because we've had it really, really smoky. I hope you can see it. This is card number 38, Indigo Imagination. I'm going to show it to you, and I'll describe it a little bit to you. So it's the color is indigo, and I don't really know what indigo really is. It's sort of between blue and purple, and some say it's sort of a purpley blue, and some say it's a bluey purple, and some say, oh, well, it's just indigo. Anyhow, I just kind of make it a bluey purpley color. And so on this is kind of a, well, an abstract design that's got bluey purple and purpley blue in it. And it's quite bright, and, well, no, actually it's a little bit on the dark side, and it's got a little bit of sunlight popping up in the corners here. Anyhow, indigo imagination. Indigo is to do with the third eye, which is the chakra that is at the placement of where your third eye would be, which is sort of between your eyebrows and just a little bit above it. And that's that mystical, magical, wonderful chakra that is all about some of the things that people think are weird and odd, like you know, extra perception, intuition, perception, knowing the future, astral travel, all sorts of, you know, weird and funky and cool things. For me, well, I love all those things, but I find that the third eye is something that we all had, were really tuned into when we were kids, because we were so creative and we were so into not having rules and just thinking creatively. We lived in a fantasy world sometimes, and we lived in dreamlike states, and I think that's where we get a lot of our smarts from, and our thinking out new ways of doing things, and coming up with new plans. As we get older and we start to follow rules more, and, you know, get told we have to do it a certain way, we let this little aspect go a little bit. And I think it's really important that we all tune into our intuition and listen to our dreams, listen to our little hits that come to us, and thoughts of how to do things. And it's fun. It's getting in tune with your intuition and your perception, and thinking about the big picture, and not necessarily thinking out all the details of how, why, when, where, all that, but just, that's interesting. Well, let's just follow that path. It can be really eye-opening, and you can start to do things that maybe you wouldn't have done otherwise. Anyhow, and also, it's a very, here it is again, so sorry, I keep pulling it away, but indigo imagination gives a clue there. It's a lot about your imagination, maybe your dreamlike states, but also creativity. The third eye and the sacral chakra are all about creativity, but the third eye actually gives you the vision to actually get the job done, and to actually put your thoughts and feelings and interesting inner views on paper or on a canvas or into music or drama, whatever your creative force or creative energy is into. Anyhow, that's just my off the top of my head little thing, and I am going to just maybe read it, and maybe not. Maybe I'll read part of it. It just depends how long it is. Sometimes I was quite wordy when I wrote these. Oh, it's not too bad. Indigo imagination. Indigo, an almost imperceptible color. Actually, it says indescribable color. Is it blue? Is